365 days, but I treat every day like it's my last. I'm only concerned with building on the future, cause I can't change my past. Positive vibes for positive lives. She just giving you that truth and shifting your mind. It's more mental than you realize. It's up to you to take control, cause this world is cold and negativity gon' take its toll. Now we've been told any day could be your last. I'm embracing every moment and I cherish every laugh, every smile, every hug, every kiss, every touch, every person in my life that I care about and love. But wait, maybe I'm getting too emotional. That's exactly what they say you ain't supposed to do. Suppress your feelings, never talk about your pain. Can't appreciate the sun without acknowledging it rains, right? That's right. So this a moment of clarity. And make sure you always protect your energy. You stay focused and your life gon' be lit. And you are now rocking with Celeste, the therapist. Let's go.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining another episode of Celeste the Therapist Podcast. My name is Celeste. I'm a therapist from Boston. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for being here. On this podcast, what I do is I talk to people that are doing things to empower the lives of others by sharing their story. And I also talk about issues we go through, and then I think about these ways in which we can deal with it. And since July, it's just been me. You've been hearing every week. But starting next week, November 9th, we are back to having live episodes where I will be talking to guests who are doing things to empower the lives of others. I have an amazing lineup for you, and I'm excited. So if you are not already following me, make sure you go to YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope. And all you got to do is search Celeste the Therapist to find me. And you can join in on the live conversations Mondays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So today I want to talk about reconciliation. And there's, you can reconcile with yourself and reconcile with someone else. But I really want to think about like reconciliation with ourselves. So I found this definition on the internet and I want to read to you. Reconciling with oneself is to accept or come to terms with something one must deal with, especially an undesirable, difficult, or troubling situation or set of circumstances. So one of the things that I talk about a lot is how we tend to run away from our suffering. And as you know, if you've been here before, running away from your suffering only creates more suffering. And a lot of times people talk about feeling broken or not feeling whole. And imagine how you can feel if you were to start to reconcile with yourself, to accept what is. And one reason why people struggle with accepting what is because you don't agree with what happened. I'm raising my hand right now because I was that person. I had a hard time accepting myself, who I was, because of everything that had happened in the past. And so because I chose not to accept my past, right? Because we all have choices. So it was a choice. I chose not to accept my past. My lens on life looked at it from a victim standpoint. I always seen myself as everything happening to me. Everything felt very hard. Everything felt so heavy. There was no peace. It felt like always chaos. On the outside looking in, you wouldn't know that there was chaos. But on the inside, when I really stopped and connected with myself, there was a lot of chaos happening internally. And I struggled with trying to get myself to a place of peace. And if you have been here before, I started this podcast is because of, my own growth and because I know that we all have greatness in us and we just have to work on having faith. We have to work on practicing mindfulness and believing in ourselves, and we can really start the process. I truly believe the process starts with us. And so one of the things I do in here is not only do I talk about this issue, so not being able to reconcile with yourself or accept what is a huge issue. And I want you to really think about how you can work on changing that narrative because, one of the things about looking at life from a victim standpoint or from that hurt standpoint is that it feels like nothing's ever going to change. You're going to feel like you're always in this vicious cycle of pain. And so it'd be hard for you to ever be in the present moment. And not being in the present moment is just leaves room for so much pain, so much anxiety, because you're either dwelling on the past or worried about the future. So, how can I work on reconciliation with myself, right? What does that look like? And it's not like a one-time sit down, hey, Celeste, like it's time to reconcile with yourself. It's not like a one-time thing, right? It's a forever thing where you're consistently checking in with yourself. So here's some things that you can think about doing daily, asking yourself, how am I doing, right, today? And that's one thing people, if you ever meet with me or talk to me, I'm going to be like, how are you doing today? Not how are you doing, but how are you doing today? When I say today, it forces me to get into the moment, to really think about what am I feeling in this present moment. So that's a question you can constantly ask yourself. Try not to judge your emotions. People say a lot of times, oh, I shouldn't be sad, or I feel bad that I'm jealous, or I feel weak because I'm anxious. I feel awful because I'm so angry. Feelings are feelings, right? And because we've never really had a chance to express it growing up, especially the negative ones, we weren't able to kind of be free with our emotions, especially like growing up in black and brown homes. I know a lot of times it was like, what are you crying for? You have food on your table, you have clothes on your back. What do you have to be upset for? A lot of us experience a lot of emotional injuries because of things that we struggled with. We never had anyone to help comfort us or help us dissect it. And so like we learn to swallow our pain. And so that's why as we become adults, we find ourselves judging our emotions. So, me personally, at this stage in my life, I don't judge my emotions. I feel them, and feeling them allows me to have power over them. Another thing you can do, think about sitting in silence. Sitting in silence does not mean I'm going to scroll on my phone or listen to music. I really want you to think about taking moments out of your day and sit in silence. And this could be like it sounds simple, but it could be really challenging. So even if it's like a minute to start or 2 minutes, just sitting there. I wake up in the morning and I will like lay in bed and I would just think about my day, my thoughts. I gather my thoughts. I have very organized thoughts in my head because I'm consistently on top of them, because I'm making space to check in with myself. One way you can also think about working on checking in is a guided meditation, especially at night. If you're struggling with sleep and trying to relax yourself, you can work on giving your brain a nighttime routine that can help you really like get into the mood of bedtime, right? You can really our brain loves structure. So really think about doing that. Taking a walk, get anything close to nature is something powerful that happens. I feel like nature is a natural medicine that is very underutilized in our country in America. So think about like getting connected with nature. You can ask yourself what's on my mind, what's on my heart, like write it down, put it in a journal. Therapy and or a coach is obviously a really good way to help you dissect what's going on, right? But I'm giving you other options as well, not just because therapy it can be hard to obtain for some people, but also even if you are in therapy, it's still great to utilize this form of healing. Schedule a monthly date with yourself, right? Try to spend some time doing absolutely nothing. And some things you can ask yourself every day is like, how can I care for myself? How can I care for myself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually today? How can I do it this week? Like, plan ahead and surround yourself with things that inspire you, right? That's going to be so much help. That's going to be so helpful for you. Getting rid of the things that don't. And this includes people. So, people and the things that you do. If you heard me before or follow my social media, Les Brown is a huge inspiration of mine. I will literally listen to him every morning. And sometimes it's the same thing that I've heard before, but every time I hear him, he inspires me. I don't know him personally, but being able to listen to him in the morning, I am surrounding myself with something that inspires me. Going for a hike inspires me, right? And, I'm in Boston. The weather's changing. So I'm really sad because I won't be going there in below temperature weather, really cold weather. So I'm actively thinking about what I can do to replace that. Think about the things that you can add to your schedule that can inspire you, because what you're trying to do, right? We're really trying to work on shifting the way that we think. We're doing that by surrounding ourselves with things that inspire us, doing routines that's going to help us change the way that our brain operates, getting us out of this victim mentality, getting us out of this idea that we can't do anything, reminding us of our greatness, because we all have greatness in us. And, I truly believe it's not over until we win. And those are the type of affirmations you have to tell yourself, especially when it gets really hard. Make sure you're reminding yourself of your worth, of your value, despite what's happened. It's going to be so important. So I really hope this was helpful. I hope this makes sense. You guys know how much I love talking about mental health. I enjoy, all the messages and the shares on the podcast. You guys consistently are listening and sharing and finding value in this content. And so I'm beyond grateful. But I don't want this to be a feel-good podcast. I really want you to take these podcast episodes that I do and not just feel good for the 10 minutes or 20 minutes that you're listening, but I really want you to take what you've learned and actually start to apply it to your life. Because that's a big major piece that we're missing with our healing process, is that we can quote the scriptures, we can repost those like positive statements, but are we actually utilizing them, right? So I really want you to think about, like, what can I do to start right now in this moment, and how can I make a commitment to myself to reconcile with myself, to become whole, and to remind myself of my greatness. That's so important. So don't forget, I will see you guys on my live podcast next week. We're going to start having amazing guests that are empowering other people. I have a community called Shifting the Way You Think. It's only a 3-month cohort, and this cohort is going to end in December. The next one starts in January 2021. I'm really excited about it. It's so good. We're talking about healing the inner child and practicing mindfulness. If you want to get on the wait list to learn about when it starts, all you got to do is go to shiftingthewayouthink.com. If you want to learn more about me and the podcast, go to celestetherapist.com, and you can follow me on all social media platforms by searching Celeste the Therapist. Until next time, I will talk to you later.